All right, and I'm going to wait for them to give me the link.
All right, there's too much going on my phone. I gotta turn this off. Okay.
Okay, Twitch has accepted the link. YouTube has accepted the link. And Facebook has accepted the link.
Okay.
Now they can give me
The link.
now they can give me the link.
How's Dan doing? Dan, producer
He's good.
Dan.
Danny's gonna be here on the 21st.
What's he?
He's just coming to hang out for the weekend. He's gonna come to Luca's. Luca's got a gig on the 21st that he wanted to go to
Where's he playing?
at Revolver, which is the vintage record
on
shop
Elmwood?
and bar. Yeah.
I worked there. That was upstairs, downstairs restaurant
Right,
when I was
right.
a kid.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I worked in that building. Yeah, that was my first real job. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
love that place.
He plays there all the time, but
Is he a drummer?
No, my kid. Well, I mean, he's multi-instrumentals, but he's a piano player. But he's a piano player.
Okay.
But he also plays drums and bass and trumpet.
Oh,
but
gosh.
yeah, he plays there all the time. But his band is doing a.
Do you need tickets or?
No, I think it's like $10 at the door or something.
Okay.
But yeah, you should definitely come.
It's the
It'll be a
21st. So what day of the week is
21st.
that?
I have no idea. I don't know.
First.
I'll send
like
you a
a
text.
Friday or something?
I'll send you a text
Okay.
with the info. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they headline the Jazz in the Park since last year, and they'll do it again this year at the Juicery. And they do
Yes.
every Wednesday night at the Juicery. And they got a lot of friends coming, sitting in, and all
Oh,
that
how
kind of thing.
nice that is. I
Yeah.
gotta go there.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. You know, smoothies and music, funk and jazz. That's their thing.
It's so good to see a kid wanting to do that, and his group is all young kids too, right?
Yeah, they're all. You know, I mean, Luca will be 16 on the 10th of March, but you know, they're all 15, 16. One of their horn players is in 8th grade,
Wow.
who they just hooked up with. You know what I mean? So they bring everybody.
What
in,
school does he go to?
He goes to Performing Arts.
Okay.
But he's possibly going to be leaving this year and going to Interlaken.
I just
Where's
sent
that?
the link to Frank and Terry.
Okay, I'll forward it
You,
to.
you texted it to me then?
okay, I'll
Richard?
forward it.
Texted it to you, yes.
Thank you.
I'll forward it to you, Patrick.
Oh, great.
And just let me know when you're all shared up.
Thanks for sending that, Richard.
You're welcome.
We did have fun in those theater classes, didn't we?
Oh, I mean,
Didn't we have a
I had a
ball in there?
blast. I had a blast. I mean, like I said, I did a whole monologue. I mean, that's something that has, walked with me my entire career.
I'm so happy.
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. I mean, that was free theater, and I had my mother and I, we had nothing. So
You could do what you want in
It
there.
was the
your
best.
monologues and your scenes.
it was great. It was I wanted to, and I talk about in one of the monologues. I think one of the monologues that I had eventually cut for some reason, but I talk about how I used to sit in those seats in the theater, and I would build the house I wanted to live in on the stage in my mind. I would be like, I want my bed over there. I want my yeah, and I would just like sit there and like dream. I just like to live up there, Yeah, and that was I so vividly remember all of that time, and it was a huge inspiration and motivation. But you'll ask me about it when we're doing the thing, because like I said, I
Your
have things
experiences
to
at
say.
ECC? Should I just bring up the fact that you had
Yeah,
some
sure.
experiences at ECC?
Sure,
What year
sure.
was that? Just out of
My
curiosity.
God, I'm the worst with that. Maybe it was 92.
My kids were, my kids
Maybe.
were just babies, yeah.
Yeah, I think 92 probably. Around them. Terrible with years.
Okay, I'm forwarded. I sent it to you.
Okay,
I'm
that's
forwarded.
fantastic.
You're good?
I'm forwarded.
Okay. Richard, if someone wants to call in or call in, send us a message, will I be getting that?
You're going to see it on the monitor. I already put up one, so you know where it is.
Ditto?
Well, look at the big screen across from you.
Yep.
Across, and then look. I don't think you're looking in the right place. Here, I'll point to it.
Oh,
See?
that, all right, that big screen. I'm looking at this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody knows where to look for the comments. And I think we can start the show.
Terry is blurry.
Let me fix that. That can be fixed very easily.
I thought it was my eyes.
Glad you caught that.
Thank you, Frank.
Much better. She looks just like that girl from Saturday Night Fever. Do you remember that? Right? Yeah. That girl dancing right behind John Travolta.
There you go. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we resetting the clock?
Oh, yeah. We're definitely doing that.
We got a big star with us. We need all 60 minutes, right?
Yes, let's
I
get it
got
all.
This is going to be.
Don't waste
this will
any
be really
time.
cool.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, Frank, in front of you, there's that little square box with the buttons on it.
Little square box. Okay.
Do you see a button with number 5 and there's a circle around it?
Yes.
When you press that, it'll start the timer, which will start the show.
Okay. We all set?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Talk About Everything with Terry. Talking Proud, by the way. We have a fabulous show here tonight. Yes, we do. But first of all, I want to introduce my co-host here, Frank Marcello. Can
Hello.
I say hi? And I'm so happy to have you here with me tonight. And we are so happy to have a very, very special guest. There's no words to describe this man other than wonderful, fantastic. He is a writer, actor, director, producer, and his name is Patrick Gallo. Would you like to say anything while you're introducing him?
Sure.
Frank?
Patrick, I remember him when he was a little kid. His
okay.
parents were friends with my parents. Going back into the 50s, my dad used to rent a cottage at Crystal Beach with his father. And I can remember him coming and saying to his mom that he was going to New York and how your mom really didn't want you to go, but she wanted to let you go.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to be a star. I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to be on the stage and I'm going to be this. And he was just a 17-year-old kid. And I was so happy. I followed his career from far away. I watched him on Budweiser commercials. I watched him every time he was on any television show. I would watch the episode. His mom called me to tell me he was on a very good string of episodes on NYPD Blue and how proud she was. And it just was, it was
Wow.
great. So I'm super excited to be here to talk to him and to let everybody know what a great guy he is, because I honestly know him and he is a great guy.
That's sweet.
So
Yes. Well, first of all,
Thank you.
tell us a little bit about your living background. You're from where originally?
Well, originally from Buffalo, from
Okay.
the west side of Buffalo. And yeah, that's it. Grew up here until I was, I guess, 19. And got into school in New York, and my 4 best friends, all and myself, hopped in a car and drove me to New York, and we had a weekend together in the city, and then they left without me, and that was the beginning of of my life as the art life, I guess. Yeah.
Now, Patrick, I want to ask you. You went to Lafayette High School.
Yes, I did.
Was Miss Kittleson an influence on your
Yes,
life?
yes, she was a great influence.
She was an influence on my life too.
Yeah.
She was a very. So did she? Did she like you or dislike you or what? She had different ways of motivating.
Yeah, I don't really
people.
know if you could ever put your finger on whether she liked you or not.
Right. She was the theater teacher there.
Oh, right.
Well, because
And-
she I remember I was doing I think it was cabaret. And that was really my first serious kind of moment where I really was feeling the energy of like, this is a place I want to be. I want to be on stage. I want to be backstage. I want to be in a theater, and it was really where my love was organically growing. And I was rehearsing a lot for cabaret, and we had assignments in English. And but she was directing the show. And she had me assistant directing the show, and I was helping with wardrobe, and I was kind of injecting myself into every kind of, moving part of a theater production. And my time was a lot of my time was being spent there. And then at the end of the run, I had a late assignment. She's like, "Well, you didn't get it, so I had to fail you." And failed me. And I was like, "What?" And what, Miss Kittleson, do you like me? Do you not? Like, what did I was like, I couldn't figure out, once again, the bewildering kind of, stance with this woman. You know what I mean? So she was great, and she was very interesting, and she liked hydration, if that's an easy way to say it. But it was a different time. But yeah, she was interesting and certainly had an impact on me. She gave me a lot of things to do in the show, which were important to me. But I couldn't believe she failed me after all that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. She brought out. She was a very like. I liked her because she was the first one that pushed me out there and said, "You need to talk. You have something to say. Get out there and talk." And she was just, but you just never knew whether
Yeah.
she really liked you or not. Which
No.
I don't like, but I learned a lot from her also. She was an interesting interesting lady.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Frank and I shared the same kindergarten teacher at one time,
Oh.
Mrs. Sally. So
Yeah.
Nice.
you've got
Yeah.
people all over
Yeah,
sharing
it's funny.
teachers with
Yeah.
you. You
No,
know.
teachers are great. I was a teacher, so
Yeah.
well,
Well, let's talk about some of your memorable roles in many television series, such as NYPD Blue,
Yeah.
ER, Grounded for Life, Cold Case, Boardwalk Empire. Tell us a little bit about some of your fond memories.
I mean, just all really, wonderful memories. Being on sound stages and being at the studios in Los Angeles and, in the earlier parts of my career. That was a different life than the New York life. But it was, it's exciting when you're walking on and security knows who you are and they let you onto these sound stages, and then you're on set, and it's very exciting, and you never ever felt like, wow, this is kind of boring, or this is, waiting around. You were just excited. You were like, this is where it all happens. This is where so many, and it's also that you're on sets where you find out like what other things were shot there. You know what I mean? That this is where Three's Company was shot, and and that was always a very cool thing, to be within the same walls. But yeah, all great experiences. And you always feel grateful, even for the smallest role. There's a lot of people going out for that role, and dying to get that role, and devastated to not get that role. Even if it's a one-line
Yes.
thing. I always felt very fortunate. To be, just on a studio lot.
What was it like working with Steve Buscemi? What did you?
No, I never
Did it-
worked with Steve. I mean, I was on Boardwalk Empire, but I didn't work with Steve. I worked mostly with Bobby Cannavale,
Okay.
who was fantastic, and then ended up working with Bobby's son in The Offer, who's a buddy of mine, Jake. But yeah, I worked with Bobby, and he was fantastic. So yeah,
Well, the NYPD, that ensemble on there was fantastic.
yeah, that was fun.
I remember Dennis France when he was on Hill Street Blues. He was kind of a bad
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
and then he was, and the stuff they put him through was fantastic. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting. He was a guy who they thought murdered how many people in NYPD Blue? Was it 13 or
remember.
something? I think it
Oh,
was
something like that.
13
I don't
people.
remember.
He was a suspect in 13 murders. I believe that's.
You're talking about my character?
Yes. Yeah.
No, it was. I think it was actually only two. It was these Russian brides, and and it ended up being my brother,
Okay.
who was
It was.
who was
did it.
killing all of these wives that I was purchasing. But yeah, that was fun too, and that was like, and we shot that on location too. We shot it at Fox, but also in downtown LA. You know, so it's always fun to like first experience like shooting on the street. You know,
Now, when you were growing up, did you? When you're 10 years old, did you think you were going to be an actor? Did you want to be an actor? What turned you into an actor? What was the one thing in your life that made you want to be an actor?
Well,
How'd you get the acting bug?
Yeah. I think that was like I said when I was doing cabaret. This is in my one man show, but you know I always felt kind of you know just not seen in my life. You know what I mean? If I wasn't being ridiculed and you know. I just didn't feel seen. I didn't feel like I had a voice. And I was very insecure, and so it was a hard social life for me. And I feel like when I was doing cabaret, I remember before the first performance, looking out of their little diamond-shaped window with the chicken wire in it, and I remember looking out and seeing everyone settling into their seats. It was a packed house. And just to see that many people, both teachers that I liked, teachers that I didn't like, people that I loved, people that I didn't like and didn't, you know what I mean? Just, it was the whole spectrum of my life all packed into this theater. And it was the first time that they were all focused on the exact same thing. And they were all looking at that stage. And I realized, wow, this is so important. This is so important to them all. This is why they're all here. They're here to listen and watch this performance, the story, and that was so powerful to me. In my show, I think I phrased it like it was like being shot in the heart with a lightning bolt wrapped in silk, and that's how it felt. It was like, wow, I don't ever not want to be in this position, and whatever that meant to me at that time. But that was the moment that. You know, everything clicked over in my body. Everything clicked over, and that was when the path I began chopping with the machete, you know, through all the brush and moving into my career, you know.
It's hard
Yeah.
to explain how
Yeah.
you feel coming off a stage at the end of a performance.
Oh, it's so
There's
difficult.
no words to
Yeah.
describe it.
None. No. It's just a feeling, and you sit, and it floats around your body.
Yeah.
And people want to talk to you, and it's exciting. You also want to run. You want to be alone, and you want to be surrounded at the same time.
Yes.
That's how it feels. You know, and I love that feeling. You know, and you know it, and it's the best.
And
It
it's
is the
hard to
best.
come down from that. Once you
Yes.
leave the theater, you're still floating.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, many times I've come home and I've just stood on my kitchen table. Like, I have to be up there still. And my wife and kid are like, ugh, God, please.
Now, your wife, you just brought your wife up. She
Yeah.
was your friend, your girlfriend in kindergarten, or you went to kindergarten?
No, we
with
knew each
her?
other. We knew each other in kindergarten. We were friends in kindergarten, and we remained friends our whole life, and best friends up until we fell in love. I was doing Mamma Mia when I fell in love with her, and it was what sort of led me to the discovery that I loved her was depression and therapy, and between the two, I mined that little treasure chest, and that and our love, developed from there.
And your son is an amazing musician, and you want to tell us brag a little bit about him?
I don't want to brag about him because it doesn't make if he watches this, which he probably won't. But he's an amazing kid. He's an amazing human, and I'm just happy that he does something that he loves to do. That he gets genuinely inspired by. And that makes me happy. Whatever that is, if it wasn't music, but he's been playing for a long time. So he's 2 years old. He's been playing and. He's got that, he's got an outlet, and I know how important the art. I guess we can call it an artlet instead of an outlet.
And
I like that.
Your
that
brother,
is different, yeah.
Your brother Frank was a very well-known musician. He was a drummer.
Yep.
And I believe I saw him with Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was hooked up with Blood, Sweat, and Tears for a long time.
All right.
Oh my.
Yeah, I grew up David Clayton Thomas and always at our house. And yeah. So he was friends with them. So he would play with them live sometimes. He never recorded with them, but he would play with them live sometimes, and and that's very cool, and I love Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and so, but that's been like a part of my, big part of my childhood.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he was in
yeah.
Vegas doing his thing there, and
Yeah.
for those of you that remember, he had a really great restaurant called Goodfellas on Ledger Street off of Hurdle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, he was a
was a
character.
wild guy. Oh,
he was a character.
No one like him.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
And I remember watching him drum and say, man, he was focused when he did it. I mean, he was.
Oh, yeah.
He was good.
It was
just
extraordinary.
Yes.
Memories are so valuable.
Yeah.
aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're perhaps best known on television as Mario Puzo's in the amazing miniseries, The Offer, based on the effort to bring the book The Godfather. Explain that whole little segment there.
Yeah. That was a wonderful experience. Shooting that and just kind of being a part, adjacent to one of the greatest films ever made. The Godfather, and that was always, that was exciting that we were doing the kind of, the events leading up to the making of it and the making of, and, so we're kind of, like I said, lightly, connected to it in some way, just by, a matter of text, but still, a very, very cool project. I worked with a lot of great people, and it's a period piece, and that's always very exciting to me. And the art direction and wardrobe was so fun, to go through that whole process. It was great. It was a wonderful experience.
I love the scenes when they were in the studio, and he had the office there. And when they would walk out, there were people walking in the background that were from different TV shows and movies. And if you didn't really pay attention, you wouldn't even have noticed that that's who it was walking in the background.
Yeah.
I just thought everything about it was so well done and so believable.
Yeah.
And how many bowls of pasta did you have to eat in that one scene?
Well, eventually it was that the crew was just betting on what eating scene it was and how much I would eat. I remember we were doing it, and I was eating these meatball sandwiches, and we were doing take after take. I remember I couldn't remember my line. Adam Arkin was directing that episode, and I just basically said, just write it on a huge piece of paper and stick it on the wall. Like, I'm not going to struggle anymore. Like, I just couldn't get it. And anyway, they were... But there were these meatball sandwiches while I was on the phone. And I'd take a couple of bites and do the scene, and then they'd end it, and then they'd take it away, and we'd have to redo it, so I'd have to have a new sandwich. And I think I ate like 7. meatball sandwiches. And the crew was making bets on it. They were like, he's going to eat 4, and he was like, I eat 9, and they were all. And so you'd hear everybody kind of exchanging bets, right after the scene was done being shot.
In
Yes.
almost every scene in the miniseries, he was eating.
Almost every scene,
Like
yes.
he was
yes.
typing at the computer or at the computer at the typewriter.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, the typewriter.
Or drinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
You were very funny in that, and I cracked up every time.
Thanks,
every
man.
time you showed up on the scene. Or on the screen, I said, "This is funny. This
That's
is
awesome.
classic."
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. It was fun.
I have a very funny picture of my dad when he was working at the Courier Express as a photographer.
Yeah.
And the Godfather must have just come out, and he's sitting there in the real thin 1960s tie with the
Yeah.
white shirt and the tight khaki pants, and he's reading The Godfather. And
That's so great. That you have the photograph.
Oh
that
yeah,
you
I have of my dad, and I was just like, that was when I see the picture, I have a copy of it in my office, and when I look, I smile and laugh, and I'm like, wow, my dad. I have a picture of my dad reading Mario Puzo, and a friend of mine played Mario Puzo.
Yeah.
So that's just like, again, comes full circle.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
What was it like working with Robert De Niro?
Fantastic.
Joe Pesci and Al Pacino?
Well, I didn't work with Joe Pesci. I worked with Al Pacino, with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and Stephen Graham in The Irishman. But it was fantastic. They're wonderful, and we spent so much time together, and it was great to work with them. It was just, it was the acting class. I remember feeling that way when we were all sitting there, and I was watching Pacino, and we were doing the scene, and it was just like it's that kind of a thing where, like, as an actor, you go like, how can you, it's like Pacino for me was like, the way he would kind of generate, his reality, because he's such a great actor and obviously seasoned, and this is a man who has done many things and loves his craft, where he would say a word and it would come out of his mouth almost like a feather, but when it hit the table, it was like a brick, and I was like sitting there going like, oh my God. Like, and just watching and just taking it all in and thinking, and I remember thinking to myself, like, there is no better acting class in the world. Meanwhile, I have De Niro to my left. You know what I mean? And then I got Stephen Graham over here. So you're surrounded by these great artists, and they were inspiring to work with, and they were great. You know what I mean? We were, it wasn't, oh hey, me coming in as a fan. So it was a different dynamic when you come in as a colleague. And Martin Scorsese, they embraced me, and I never felt out of place or, these are big. These are these people that have inspired you. These are like icons. You'd think that you would be like, how do I even behave in this environment? Because your brain kind of goes like, these are the people that you see in film, and they've inspired you. And how do you behave normally around them? How can you be? And it's because of who they are that was able to occur, because they were so accepting of me before I even like got to them. When I was called into the soundstage to kind of have a private discussion with me and Steven and and Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese. You know what I mean? These are. It was like, and it was. That was it, just the way they called me into the room. I was like, oh, I'm with my people. Like, that's it. We're just a bunch of New York actors. And that's what it became. It was like we might as well have been in a black box theater, on 45th Street. You know what I mean? Doing a midnight show of a one-act play. It was that kind of a feeling. So
was that? I know your character was supposed to be in Miami. Did they really shoot it there, or was that L.A.? Or
no, we shot that in Queens on a soundstage.
Okay.
We did shoot exteriors in Miami, but the exteriors never made the cut. which was us pulling in, you know, in this beautiful Cadillac and getting out and walking into the hotel. We went to Miami and shot them, but it never made the cut. But I was glad to at least go to Miami and
Soak up some
shoot.
of the
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and
Get
it was
some
like it was
sun.
the B Cam team. So Martin Scorsese was there, but you know, but it was very, very cool.
What
I
is
mean, they
he?
shut
What
down
is he
Ocean
like?
Avenue.
I mean,
He's the best.
He's brilliant beyond all. I've read so much about him, and
Yeah.
it just had to be. I mean, to be in the same room with him must have been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just being an actor, and you know, like even someone who isn't an actor, you know how impactful the art that they put out into the world is, and you know how we've all watched their films, and you know many times, and what they do to you, what they make you feel like, and what they leave with you, right? The residue of these kinds of storytellers, and especially Martin Scorsese, he was the best. He was like. I don't know, how do I say it? Like a very excited 13-year-old girl.
Yeah,
That's
high
kind of
energy.
how I felt. Like he was
Yeah.
just, his energy was so, he was just excited and he was like a little kid, you know? And he just loves He loves actors, you know? He loves them. So he doesn't want to say much about what they're doing. He wants to let them all figure it out. You know, which is, you know, so exciting, especially in that environment. But no, he doesn't, there's very little direction. It's all him saying, in essence, you tell me where it goes. You show me how this thing works. I mean, it was even from the beginning of the thing where he was like, you know, we said, well, how are we coming in to the scene? Stephen and I were saying it. It's not in the... And then Marty said, "Oh yeah, it's not even here. It's not in the script." He said, "Well, I don't know. Just you figure it out." And when a director gives you that freedom, you know, you're just like, okay. And we did. And so when that scene opens and we walk in, that's just what we did. That's just what we organically felt we wanted to do. And he didn't touch it. He didn't have nothing. He didn't have anything to say about it because. He gives us you got the potions. You mix them together however you want. You're here for a reason. We're all here for a reason. He's fantastic. Just the best.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
see Al Pacino.
So
in The
fantastic.
Godfather. Just, and it's again, it's so funny. You were in you've like surrounded The Godfather. You worked with the people in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Then you were
Classic.
in a mini series
Yeah.
about The
Yeah,
Godfather,
yeah.
talking about them. And
Somebody
it's
up
like,
there's
it's
talking
like,
to you.
Holy
I know.
cow! We're just think about
It's
that.
so funny. Yesterday, I was watching. I was watching Heat yesterday, and of course, the big thing of Heat, right, was De Niro and Pacino are in Heat, and they're going to sit down, they're going to have a scene, and everyone was very excited about them. It was very exciting to see because nobody had ever really seen them. They were in The Godfather together, but he played his father younger. You know, they were never
Yeah.
in the film necessarily.
Right.
And I'm watching the film, and they're sitting at the table, and they're doing the scene, and this and that, and I'm thinking to myself, the next time that happened, I was also sitting at the table. And it like dawned on me. I was kind of, and this was like last night, and I'm eating pistachios, and I was like, oh, wow, how fucking cool is that? That's so cool, you know? So they were all great to work with. And De Niro, you know, what was cool is that he produced another gig that I had following The Irishman. And so that was nice that it kind of was able, you know, I was able to kind of parlay that into a something, you know, another project that he was a part of, he was a producer of. You know, so that was nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you wrote a one-man play that was a big success, and it sold out at the Alleyway Theater, entitled "How to Be an Artist in 10 Easy Steps."
Yeah,
Tell
intense,
us a
super
little
easy
bit
stuff.
about that.
It was just a collection of monologues.
wrote it.
I did. Yes, I did. Collection of monologues that, you know, I mean, when you're writing a show, you're writing a one-man show kind of a thing. You know, you're looking at these kind of chunks of life, or however, whatever you're writing about. Mine was about my life. And so, you got to whittle it down from, say, 40 stories to 10. That process was, wonderful and difficult. But, it was the 10 moments that I kind of felt were shifting me toward the art life, I guess, as a child, and the kinds of environments that I was in, and how those people, or how those instances or situations, became, I guess, fuel for being an artist, for wanting to create things. And, it's like they're all like little bottles of paint. And that was sort of the path that I took, to feeling like, oh yeah, okay, this is where you want to be. This is your place. And that's what the show's about. It's about the things that sort of led me to a creative life.
For our audience, if Patrick's going to be doing this again, hopefully in Buffalo.
Yeah, it's in the works right now.
I
Yep.
saw it both nights. It was fantastic. You will laugh and you will cry, and it's just, you have such. And I'm not blowing smoke here. I'm just telling you, like, he has command of
You
that.
can blow smoke.
Okay, all right, I'll blow some smoke then. He has command of that stage, and I know it was a one-act play or a one-man play, but I just saw the energy and you've got it. Like,
Thanks,
it was great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to everybody. It would, especially if you're an Italian guy from the West Side, like
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
And the way you talked about your mom and your dad and your brothers and sister growing up, and just the people around you. I mean, we grew up in a neighborhood with characters.
Yeah.
Everybody's father was a character.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
A character in a movie, a character in a book, a character in a play.
Yeah.
And the way you just brought it all together and kind of mixed it up and then pulled it out, it was great.
Thanks,
It was great.
Thank you very much. Very exciting thing to do, but yeah, and it's coming back around. So
When is it going to be out? Or
we have no idea, but sooner than later, we're looking, working with venues now to see where it's going to be, and then we'll publicize it. And
Oh, good. We'll have you back on the show to talk about it then.
sure,
Yeah.
Definitely.
absolutely, yeah.
You recently wrote and produced a short that was filmed in Buffalo entitled Kansas.
Yes, yes.
Tell us about this film.
Oh, yeah, that's in post-production right now. I'm editing it. I released the trailer's out, the official trailer. That's a love story, an abstract love story, a period piece, 1955. And it's about that feeling of unexpectedly stumbling into an overwhelming mist of love, and the fear of it not remaining exactly what it is when you first feel it. Do you let it erode, or do you run and dream about it for the rest of your life? And so it's that kind of that blurry sort of that blurry kind of path between love and obsession. I think it definitely walks that line. But it is a love story. Stephen McKinley Henderson, the great Stephen McKinley Henderson, did it with me, and that was magical. He plays the narrator, and it's really, it's just a poem. It's a poem about love, and how complex and frightening and overwhelmingly beautiful it all is. And the fear of that, and I think a lot of it came from this idea of, like, I used to always be, I'd fall in love with someone. I would think I was in love with someone when I was younger, and I would feel these feelings. And then, then you get to a point where that person that you had all those feelings for, and then you're together for a while and it fades, and you try to think about the way you felt about that person, and you can't believe that you felt that way about that person, but you don't anymore. And that would just be so devastating to me. I couldn't get my head around it. So I think in a way this is kind of like, can you do it and escape it? at the same time, you know. But it's
Now,
abstract, that's for sure.
It's very abstract. It's
Wow.
film noir. Could I say? Could I?
Yeah,
I could
It's
say
inspired,
that,
absolutely inspired by
it
film
was
noir, sure.
fascinating watching the filming of it. With it's a black and white film,
Yep.
and the makeup. I was most impressed with the makeup because I had never seen any filming with, everybody looked like they were in a horror film with this green makeup on their
Yeah,
face.
yes,
because
yes.
it was that's what looks in a black and white
Well,
film.
with the contrast and lighting,
and
yeah,
it
everything
was-
is, yeah.
It was
yeah.
amazing, and
Yeah.
again, I watched his energy from afar. That was a lot of fun, and I want to thank you for
Yeah, well, I
asking.
want to thank you. It was great to have you there. He was a huge, enormous help, a great presence on set, totally available to us, and really came through. You know, we shot, not that this would make sense to anybody who isn't a filmmaker or in the world, but, 7 pages a day for 4 days. That was what our budget allotted. That's how our schedule had to work out. That's a lot. That's a lot to do. And so that was challenging. So every extra hand we had on set was really helpful, and he was a big hand, big help.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
We were
very nice.
thrilled to
Wow,
have him.
I got a
there.
compliment today.
Big time.
Yes.
It's good.
Definitely, definitely. Also, I heard a rumor that you're shopping a television show based on your family 10-year-old perspective. Tell us about that.
That's a show called Chubby's House. We're getting ready to go out and start pitching that. Yeah, that's just about, I had a very colorful, strange, tragic, and bizarre childhood. And this is a sitcom. It's a half hour. So we're really, really leaning and calling back to the great old shows like, All in the Family and Welcome Back, Kotter. But at the end of the day, it's kind of The Sopranos meets The Wonder Years. It's narrated by 10-year-old Patrick, little chubby 10-year-old Patrick, who's just trying to figure out the world around him, which is unbelievably confusing. He's got a house filled with cops and criminals and food and merchandise that keeps sort of rotating throughout the house, and he's getting attached to things, and then they're being sold. And so he's really kind of trying to figure out who he is through this ever evolving, bizarre environment that he grew up in as an Italian American, little chubby Italian American kid who was, trying to just figure out who he was, and that's where the show is focused, right? It's through his eyes and how he is perceiving his father. And that's another, obviously a big part of the show is Chubby's House, which is my father. And I think it's watching my father and watching how he handled the world around him. He was a maestro, and he was a very strange maestro. And so there was a lot of questions, that I was left with about life. So, and that's really what the show investigates, how he deals with crime, lawlessness, and being fair, and empathy, and revenge, and all of these things that played a part in his little world as a young boy. Not the kinds of things a typical young boy would necessarily experience or he would be shielded from. I was also very distant. I was late. I was born very late. I was a mistake. So my siblings were like, other parents. It didn't even dawn on me that they were my brothers and sisters. So that relationship was also very complex and odd. So it's got so many like familial dynamics, and then all these very, very wonderful, strange characters that come in and out. But it all takes place in Buffalo in the 1970s, blue collar. Yeah. So it's good. It's funny. It's very funny. It's also got so much heart, So it's a little kid struggling to figure it all out.
Wow.
Yeah.
You talk about tragedy a lot, and
Yeah.
almost everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you express it in such a way? I'm going to go back to your play. How
Yeah.
you the tragedies you talked about there. In the in your pilot, you touched on tragedy a little bit, and then you kind of backed off. So it leaves me wondering, what do you think you'll use that in
I don't
your?
know. Yeah.
It's hard to be funny and tragic
Yes.
and
Yeah.
tragic at the same time, but I think you can do it.
You can do it. You can do it. I don't know that they're necessarily, rooted in the tragedies that I have experienced, that I do speak about in my one-man show, and not to say that these are things that are going to be used in my work in the future, because they are and they will. But with a comedy, you kind of gotta, you play it a little bit of in a little bit of a different way. Death. And abuse, but it is in the show. But it's dealt with in a bit of a different way. Certainly not dealt with the way it was dealt with in my life. But yes, tragedy is a huge part of my work. Absolutely. Oh my God. I mean, the tragedies that I've experienced, obviously it broke my heart, and my heart continues to be broken through the lens of those tragedies. But there's also really beautiful things in them. Like, I have seen some pretty dark stuff, and I don't necessarily regret that I have. It's part of your journey, So yeah, tragedy is a big part of all of it. And even that comedy comes out of that tragedy, whether you see it or not, right? I mean, that's a classic.
Absolutely.
Comedy is, in a way, tragic, right? That's funny. Just, it's very, very delicate how you deal with it, right? And how you write it, structure it. So, yeah.
Well,
What are your future plans? Like, what do you have back on the plate here that we got to hear about?
Well, I mean, the one-man show is going to go back up, and we're working on this other TV show, and I'm always auditioning for gigs, and always, waiting for a little spark of inspiration. I mean, I always have a lot of things going on, but usually they're my own. They're my own things, So, because I just feel, I mean, in certain ways, I do identify as someone who has to have things going on, and that could be a very, I mean, it is partly unhealthy. But yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, I've a bunch of stuff going on, and I just kind of let it hit me when it hits me, and then I roll with it.
what would you say the perfect movie is?
The perfect movie. The perfect movie. I would say, oh man, right at this moment, I'll tell you
stumped
that
him.
the perfect movie, right now, the perfect movie to me would be Dr. Strangelove.
Really?
Sure, absolutely. That to me is a perfect movie. Top to bottom, framed of it. There's not a moment in that film that I am not just thrilled to be taking it in.
That I would
Dr.
not have bet
Strangelove.
that was going to be his
No,
answer.
I wasn't either. I didn't either.
And and then I'll jump and I'll give you one more, and I'll say, Goodfellas.
Oh, I
Okay,
love
okay.
that. Oh, the music alone.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
it's just it's a perfect movie. It
And
really is a perfect movie.
I
mean,
wa-
I can list a lot of them right now.
Oh, well,
but
I
they're all
watched it
kinda-
the other day, and I never realized the one scene when Ray Liotta is walking into the restaurant with the girl from The Sopranos.
Karen, Lorraine Bracco.
Yeah,
Yep.
Lorraine Bracco.
Yep.
They never stop. It's one continuous
Yeah.
scene.
I mean, it's very famous for that
very
shot at
walk
that
through
time.
that.
They
that
walk
whole-
through the back of the
yeah.
restaurant,
The
through the
kitchen,
restaurant, the kitchen,
everything.
and
Yeah.
they never stop. And how they coordinated that.
Yeah.
Because again, I had been just
I
off.
mean, that was Steadicam, but
Right.
But it was in its infancy at that time. So when you watch it.
Amazing shot.
I thought of that
even to
same
this
thing
day.
when it happened.
Yeah.
When I saw
That's
it.
and
A very easy shot to get today, but it's just never going to look the way it did when they did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just a beautiful thing to behold. Yeah. Even now we have gimbals and you know what I mean? I mean, it's not a hard shot to harness now, but then it was a whole different thing. And that was an extraordinary thing to see.
yeah,
In an
it's-
extraordinary film.
Yes.
You know, surrounded by like constant beautiful visual disturbing you know, I mean it
It's like
just
a roller coaster,
oh
wasn't
my
it?
god.
Up and down
yes. Yes.
When Joe Pesci was asking his mother for a knife, you know, like, I need a knife about that long, you know, just classic.
Yeah,
That's probably got to go down as well, with the exception of The Godfather, which I feel is some other. There's not even a level you can put that at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Besides The Godfather, the Goodfellas is just
Yeah.
will never. I don't think they
No.
can top that.
No.
I'm sure they're never going to remake that movie. That's for sure.
No, they better not.
Yeah.
No one would ever dare.
Yeah, couldn't touch that one.
No. It'd be a ridiculous thing to see in Deadline.
Growing up, did you like older movies? Did you what kind of movies made you want to be in the movies? Did you watch old black and white movies? Did you?
Yeah, I watched a lot of music. Like my dad loved James Cagney. So I watched a lot of James Cagney movies. My father loved James Cagney, and my mother loved musicals. So I watched, you know, so I was there, and so she turned me on to a lot of musicals and those songs, you know, and how beautiful, you know, Rodgers and Hammerstein, or you know, Sound of Music. I mean, all these wonderful things. So yeah, those were definitely. I wasn't consciously like, oh, hey, this is what I'm going to do, but I certainly responded to it, you know. And I think probably the biggest impact on me, which was getting to New York, was experiencing, you know, all of Woody Allen's films. Like, that was New York to me. And that made me want to be a part of that world, of his New York, you know. So that had a great impact on me. Yeah.
I worked with him one time.
You did?
In a film called Untitled, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going back years.
Wow.
I'm going back
How
years.
cool. Wow.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to work with him, and also Raging Bull with Robert De Niro. I'll go back to that one.
That's
was one of
another
the-
perfect film, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was one of the
yes.
bridesmaids in that
Really?
one. So
Wow,
yeah.
so you were on
but
the
I'm
set.
That's why I'm saying, yeah. I won't mention what age I am, but you know, that's definitely.
But you were on the set.
The Rose with Bette Midler,
The
yeah.
Rose with Bette Midler. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's
Look how
amazing.
long ago that was.
Yeah, but that's incredible. That is so
Yeah,
cool.
But anyway, getting back to you, enough about
That's
me.
awesome. Wow.
yeah.
You know, you usually don't get much out of Terry. She doesn't really tell people all the movies that she's actually been in.
Yeah.
And I also have to say that Terry was also one of your instructors or your teachers.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm gonna move. Is this lamp? Oh no, that wasn't the lamp. Which lamp is that lamp?
that.
That was driving me.
Okay,
I was like,
all right.
what is that? Yes, Terry.
At UCC.
At ECC, that is when I met Terry, and I was taking theater, and which was awesome, and she was amazing, and I was able to be in theater. I couldn't afford to take theater classes, so of course it was great to be in community college and have that access. And she was a wonderful teacher, very supportive. And then I failed out of community college, which is, I think, puts me in a rare group.
Not my class, though. Verify
And so,
that.
and then I came to Terry, and I said, I won't be coming back to school. They've asked me to leave, and I. But do you know anyone that is doing theater classes that I could go to, because I didn't want to stop? And she said, just keep coming here. And she allowed me to sneak in, and what
my
was
God,
my
that's right.
acting class became my illegal acting class, and which made it much
Wow,
more
I
exciting. And I would
that's
sneak in.
So you
And
are
she-
in the
she-
are in the one man show, because he does mention that.
Yes,
That's
yes. And so
right.
she and that was a moment that, you know, said to, you know, was really spoke to me, and it was like, wow, Like, she believes in me enough to say, no, come back and be here. That was, unconsciously at that moment. But when I look back on it, I think, my gosh, that's one of the great, sources of rocket fuel probably for me to keep going, that someone cared enough to be like, no, just come. Yeah. You don't know how
Bringing
much you
tears
mean.
to my eyes.
Yeah,
really.
man, you don't know how
forgot
much-
all about that's right.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that was a huge moment for me. And from there, one of the students saw a brochure to a school in New York and ran it out to me in the middle of a blizzard while I was waiting in the car with my mother. And then I went to New York. And so it's like those, little stones in my path at that time were incredibly massive, as to what I saw beneath my feet. But I didn't know those little stones were actually these boulders that were just, pushing me, into what I do. So thank you.
You just brought
I'm
back-
so glad that I can thank you like now. Like that has lived with me. It's been 30 years since I've seen you. And that has lived with me my whole entire career. And I can't wait to tell people, like, oh, and acting, and Taryn, and she let me in, and she told me to come in and didn't care and broke the rules so I could have that opportunity. Like, it was a big deal. It's a big deal.
I'm so happy.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I could help you. Like I'm just totally now it's bringing it all back to me.
Yeah.
It's coming back to me now.
Awesome. I love that.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, your mother was quite the filmmaker too, with her
She
camcorder.
was, yeah.
She always had that. Now I remember her with her little camcorder.
Yeah.
Videotaping things, and his mother was a wonderful, wonderful person, and
Yeah, she was.
I loved her. She was. She will be the favorite character in your television show. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
You got to find
She's
the
already
right
a
person.
pretty incredible character, yeah,
Yes.
in the show. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
To play her, you got to find the right person to play her.
Yeah.
And but she was sweet, and Patrick's done a lot of things to honor his mom, and that's very important to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've watched everything you've done to honor your mother, and it's touching beyond. It's just amazing that you did that and how you did it. And in one of your films, at the end, you just left that picture of your mom up there for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it definitely made me cry, and I just.
Yeah.
I thought the world of your mom, and I
know you
just
did,
thought how touching. And then when I saw her videos that she was making on the other one that you did with her, and I said, she's every bit. You are creative because of your mother.
Yeah, and those are things that like settled in later in life, and I realized I was like, my God, I would find all this footage, and I was like, she's the filmmaker. She was filming everything. It was incredible. And then she lived in New York for a long time with me. I mean, we lived in different places in the city, but we both lived in Manhattan, which was incredible. And just surreal and a dream when she told me. She's like, they offered me a job to take care of my best friend's grandmother who lived in the Sherry, Netherlands, right above Diana Ross. And my mother would take care of her. And then they said, do you want to just move here and take care of her? And I was living in New York at the time. And she's like, and she would come in for 2-week stints here and there, take care of Tilly. And then they said, you know what? I was like, yeah, you got to take the job. And then my mother lived there. And then we would go and we'd spend thousands of hours together in the park and in Central Park, which was her backyard because she lived on 5th and 59th on the 32nd floor. And we would shoot films together in the park, and she was at every single performance. I mean, if we had a midnight show on the Lower East Side, that house was usually empty, but most of the time she'd be sitting there. You know what I mean? Like she was there, so I was fortunate that she was, able to just be by my side while I You know, I did what I did, and I did what I love to do. And she never once said, "Do you think you should, you know, think about something to fall back on?"
Hitting a real job.
Never,
right?
never,
said that.
no.
She always
was.
encouraged you.
That's-
Never even. It never even looked at me with the sense of, "Are you sure you want to go down this road?" She never questioned it. It was, "This is what you want to do. You know, this is what you do." It was just never. There was never a judgment. It was just she accepted who I was, and that's a blessing. And I always knew that was a blessing, you know. And so I miss her being the first person that I say I got the gig. She was so fucking proud of me. But I had so much time with her in that respect that it's almost like a given, you know, that feeling. But God, she was so excited. She was just always so happy, no
she
matter
was
what.
so proud of you.
Oh, man.
She would call me and tell me he's going to be. Gotta watch the Super Bowl this weekend. He's going to be on a Budweiser commercial.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's how I got my SAG card. She was so proud.
Okay.
She said, "You're going to get your SAG card. You're part of the union." And I was like, yeah. But to her, that was like,
big
"You're a member of the union." It was massive.
Right.
Oh my God, she was so proud of me, and you know that I was a Screen Actors Guild member. Like that was, and I remember thinking like, "What is this big deal?" Like I didn't know, but to her, she was old school. It was like, "You're a union member.
Right.
That's big." You know,
Right.
So,
Just it's
yeah. So
they don't make him like his mom anymore. Believe me.
No,
I just,
she was rare, man.
She was funny.
yeah,
With WECK was always on, listening to Frank Sinatra, singing
Yeah,
along with the
yeah,
songs.
yeah.
She was very, very funny
Yeah.
and an amazing person. And I'm
and a survivor,
I'm
you
a
know?
better person for have knowing her.
Yeah.
It just.
I should be much better having her as my mother. That's all I feel. She was just so good at just kind of sitting in life and taking it as it came and not dwelling, you know, as with all the tragedy that she had to endure. My God, she just she did it with such grace. And you know, it's one of the things I wish I was better at, you know, through her guidance. You know what I mean? Like she was just so good at that, and so, you know, I draw on her all the time, and my wife has to remind me, like, you know, because she was special, she was an angel, yeah, and I was glad that my son had so much time with her in his life.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and my wife, my wife was like her daughter, you know, so it's a lot of great connections that I'm very fortunate to have and very, very, very grateful for, you know, the depth, you know, that kind of has, you know, been wired through my immediate little circle with her.
What's one piece of advice your mom gave you that you'll never forget? That you could hear over and over in your mind? Piece of advice. Or something
I
that
mean,
she taught you will stay with you.
Yeah, I think that it's hard for me to pinpoint that at this very moment. But I would say that it was... I think that the main thing that she would always say is, you know, I think, or that she would kind of present is, you know, is to just kind of get through it. Like, get through it. Don't let it drag you down. Don't let it bury you in the mud. You know, it was like, it happened. You got to move on from it. You've got to move on from it. And that's not the most articulate way to explain it. That's a great question. And I would, you know, answer it on another episode of the show because I would want to do it justice. She taught me so many things, but I think there's something there I can't really pinpoint right now.
We'd
but
love to have you come back.
yeah, I will. I
mean,
will.
If you,
Yeah, or
love
maybe I'll
to.
just call in another show and be like, I just remembered.
No, we'd love
This
to.
is what she used to tell me.
Look, we got a whole page of all these other things you've been in and you've done. I'm sure
Yeah.
we could move
Patrick,
on
I
with
have
what
two
you're
more questions.
doing.
for
Okay,
you.
we got a little
Okay, the
time
one
left.
thing is
Yeah.
Vincent Gallo, the actor. Is he
Yeah.
related to you?
No.
Okay. So
My
let's get
wife-
that out of the way.
The only
because
connection, my wife was assistant casting on Buffalo 66, another film that I love. But my
Okay.
wife was the assistant
Was
casting
she?
director.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
a dance teacher.
My mother-in-law was in the tap class.
I taught the tap class.
She was in that scene.
Get out.
Yes.
I taught that dance.
That was it. That's right. And my mother's one of the tappers.
Oh
and they do
my-
the
Yes,
stacking shot. Yep.
yes.
She's one of the tap dancers.
What a small world.
I know. I love it. I can't wait to tell her.
Oh my goodness. What was the other
Well,
question?
the second question was, I always wanted to ask you, how did it feel the first time someone recognized you and said, "Hey, were you Mario Puzo? Hey, how did that feel the first time that happened?"
It doesn't happen that often unless someone, tells someone, oh, this, that, and the other thing. But it does more so in airports, I think, because there's a lot of people coming from many, there's a more
Right.
variety
Right.
of people. But, it's a wonderful feeling, when someone recognizes
Recognizes
you from
you.
work that you've done.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I think the best one, and you brought up the offer, Mario Puzo, the best one was someone walked up and said, hey, jokingly, hey, you wrote The Godfather. And I
That's
was
the-
like, that's surreal.
Right.
Of course, I didn't. And they pulled out The Godfather and said, would you sign this?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool that I got to sign. And there's some kind of justification. Like, no one would say, like, why would you let this goofball sign your copy of them? It's like, well, he played Puzo and it works. It's okay.
Right.
Like, it was almost like it was okay to do it.
Well,
and that was
I
awesome.
got to interrupt. We're
Yeah,
running
lay it
down
on
to
me.
the limit. And I don't know how to thank you for coming and
That's it.
visiting
You've
with
done
us
it.
and sharing your wonderful life. Frank, would you like to say
Oh,
anything?
it's just I'm so happy for you, and I'm just overwhelmed with how much I enjoyed working with you.
Yeah,
on,
man, me too.
On your short film, and I just I want to thank you publicly. That was one of the most fun times I ever had in my
Nice.
life.
Oh, I love that.
And
I love
and watching you, you're brilliant.
Thanks, man.
And
Oh,
everything
jeez.
about you was you were. It didn't matter how bad something was going. You were cool. You got it done, and you solved the
thanks.
problems. It was amazing. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
okay, thank you, Patrick.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Stay safe and happy and healthy.
Where's the camera? Oh, that one.